Good morning. Let us start with a prayer. Sadasivasamarambham Shyamacharanamachyamam Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shrutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokasankaram Guru Mata, Guru Pita, Guru Mati, Guru Gati, Vina Guru Name Gnanam, Vina Guru Name Sthiti. Today happens to be the celebration of Teachers' Day in India. Parents are the first teachers, and whoever taught us anything in life are all our teachers through school, college, university, and also all the spiritual teachers who have taught us spirituality. Let us remember all and bow to all. Om Tat Sat Om. This is Swami Guru Priyananda from Temple of Compassion. Pranams to all of you. Hope you are all doing well. I have already been here for more than a year since my return from Australia, and TOC will soon be celebrating the 6th Foundation Day. The time is going fast. As Guruji reminds us, a moment lost or a single breath lost does not come back. So let us all try to be conscious in every breath and pray for all those who need help during these difficult days. Today's topic is based on Guruji's talk and a book titled Teachings for Transformation from the Bhagavad Gita. This is the book. If you have not read it, please do so. As we know, Gita is a practical scripture on yoga, teaches us how to live. In the 13th chapter, the Lord enumerates qualities that one should practice in order to be free from ignorance and live in knowledge. And this leads to enlightenment. 20 qualities are listed in verses 7 to 11 of the 13th chapter. We will try to go through these qualities, see what they mean, and what we can do to inculcate them. And as time permits, we may do some elaboration on some of the qualities. So I would like to begin with repeating the verse, and we will look at the meaning of the verses first, then go on. So I will start with the 7th verse. Amanitvam adambhitvam ahimsa kshanti arjavam acharyopasanam saucham sthairyamatma vinigraha. There are 9 qualities listed here. We'll just go through the meaning of each one. The first one is amanitvam. Amanitvam means absence of pride. The next is adambhitvam. Adambhitvam, there are several meanings, but we'll take it as freedom from hypocrisy. Ahimsa is non-violence. Shanti means patience or forgiveness. Then we have arjavam, straightforwardness or simplicity. Acharya upasanam is service to the Guru. Saucham is purity. Sthiryam is steadiness. And Atma Vinigraha is self-restraint. So these are the meanings. We have 9 spiritual qualities in this verse. So let's go on to the next one, the 10th verse. Indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarsanam. We have 3 qualities in this verse. The 10th quality, we had 9 in the first one, is indriyartheshu vairagyam, not to be attached to the objects of the senses. Then anahankara. Anahankara means egolessness. The last one in this verse is Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Janma is birth, Mrityu is death, Jara is old age, Vyadhi is disease. And it says Dukkha Dosha Anudarsanam, to be constantly aware of the sorrows of birth, death, disease, and old age. So these are up to here, 12 qualities are done. In verse 9, starts with Asakti Anabhishvangaha Putradara Gruhadishu Nityam cha Samachittatvam Ishtanishtopapatishu. Asakti means non-attachment. Anabhishvangaha means not to be identified. What is it we should not be identified with? Putra, Dara, Gruha, Adishu. Children, spouse, house, and so on. Anabhishvangaha means not to love them, but not to be totally identified with them and living their lives. Okay. Next is Nityam cha Samachittatvam. Constant balance of mind in likes as well as dislikes. Then we go to verse 10. Mai cha ananya yogena bhakti avyabhicharini vivikta desa sevitvam aratirchana samsadi. Mai chan ananya yogena. Ananya yoga means undeviated devotion. So one should be completely devoted to the Lord without any modification of that devotion. It is total surrender. Then Vivikta Desa Sevitvam means love for solitary living. And also related to that is Aratir Jana Samsadi, dislike for company of a lot of people. So for a spiritual aspirant, these come naturally, wanting to be solitary and also not wanting to be among crowds of people. Verse 11 has two qualities. Adhyatma Gnana Nityatvam Tattva-Gnanartha Darsanam Etat Gnanam Iti Proktam Agnanam Yadatonyadha. Adhyatma Gnana Nityatvam is to be established in self-knowledge all the time. And Tattva-Gnanartha Darsanam is to get an insight into perception of truth. These last two qualities kind of sum up the whole essence. One who practices all these will naturally arrive at the stage of being established in self-knowledge and also will have an insight into the perception of truth. So these 20 qualities are listed by the Lord as the most essential qualities which lead us towards self-realization or the truth. So very shortly, we'll go over the meanings of these. We started with Amanitvam. Whenever this quality is starting with the letter A, it means not to have that quality. So Amanitvam means not to have Manitvam. And what is Manitvam? Manitvam is to feel you are superior, that you are more knowledgeable, and to expect to be treated as such. It also can be interpreted as not having any humility. I remember in this connection, something Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said. He said, Trunadapi sunicheva taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Be humble like grass and be tolerant like a tree, and honor even the lowest of the low as the presence of God. To remember that God is in everyone and to give respect to even the lowest of the low. Amanina manadena is what he said. To practice Amanitvam, there are a few questions you can ask yourself, which Guruji has written in his book, for each quality, he said what we can ask ourselves so that we'll be able to practice it. So to ask yourself, am I proud of myself? Do I feel superior to others? Am I expecting recognition? And if you contemplate on these questions and know yourself, you'll realize that everything has been given to us by God and it can be taken away at any time. By being loving and humble is good because pride leads to downfall and humility leads to success. Then the second one is adambhitvam. Again, not to have dambha. And what is dambha? It's absence of, dambha is to have stubbornness and almost being one thing inside and one thing outside, like a hypocrisy. So adambhitva means not to have this kind of quality of being stubborn or sticking to your own point and having double standards. So this is the second quality. What questions can you ask yourself? Am I honest with myself? Am I living with ego and pride? Am I selfish? Am I stubborn and sticking to my own point? So pondering over your faults, what also helps is try to live in good company. So this is adambhitvam. I wanted to club ahankara here. It's not in this verse, it is in the next verse, but these three qualities really go together. The quality is anahankara. Ahankara means ego, anahankara means to be egoless. Ego is a very beautiful concept. In Vedic tests also, it is considered as an inner instrument because we have four inner instruments: mano, buddhi, ahankara, and chitta. Mind, intellect, ego, and memory. So ahankara means the feeling of I am the doer, I have done it, the feeling of pride of doership and body consciousness. So anahankara is absence of ego. If we look into what causes this ego comes because of complexity and comparison. Through simplicity, ego disappears. And as you all know, there are 5 causes of ego related to the 5 chakras in our body. Ego of wealth, ego of gender or beauty, ego of health, ego of status, ego of intelligence and religion. These 5 egos correspond to the 5 lower chakras in the body. And for example, take the ego of health. We have several stories where people plundered and accumulated wealth, and there's story of a emperor who conquered most of the world and accumulated a lot of wealth. But as he got old and was dying, he realized nothing really comes with him. And it is said he requested his ministers, when people come to visit him when he is dead, let his hands be hanging by the sides, just to tell people that no matter how much wealth you have, you cannot take it with you. So not to have these kind of egos. Same with gender and beauty. These are all temporary things which God has given us, and they can be taken away at any time. Man is greater or woman is greater. They're both complements to each other. So not to have ego of gender and beauty. Next is ego of health and strength. This also comes and goes. One who is very strong today may not be so tomorrow. So these are changing situations, to be aware of that. Ego of name and fame. Same thing. Sometimes people are so engrossed in themselves and keep on praising themselves and expect others to praise them. So not to have this kind of ego. Then ego of religion. All religions teach the same thing: how to experience God's presence through a disciplined life. But people forgetting that spirit keep fighting that I am so and so, I am a Hindu, I am a Muslim, my religion is greater, and so on. So it is not good to have this ego also. So how to erase this ego? By looking at your own life, analyzing yourself, try to find what is the kind of ego that you have and try to analyze that ego. And there's an interesting concept of, is ego good or bad? Some people argue if you do not have the ego, you will not try to achieve anything. But that is not true. In Guruji's words, he said, either increase your ego to infinity or decrease your ego to zero. Actually, both are the same thing, but do not be in between them. So how do we increase our ego to infinity? Where the scriptures say, Aham Brahmasmi. And in the Bible, it is said, I and my Father are one. This is supreme ego. If you are everything, what are you egoistic about? There is no comparison. There is nobody else who is greater. So that is one way. Other is to become so humble and think you are nothing. This is the other way. But actually, they are both end up giving you the same result. No ego, no comparison. What are the things you can remember in order to practice? To keep reminding yourself, whatever you have achieved, it is not yours. It is because of many factors. So be grateful to all those who have helped you in it instead of being egoistic. We came with empty hands. We have to go back with empty hands. Regular prayer and meditation will help us to be humble and not having ego. And if you have a life free from ego, it could be a very peaceful life. So next quality, we'll talk about ahimsa. Ahimsa. Again, ah means not, himsa means violence. So in other words, ahimsa means non-violence. It is a great virtue. It means not injuring or hurting others. And defining ahimsa, Sage Patanjali has said, it should be followed through mind, speech, and body. That means mind, speech, and action, thought, word, and deed. So how do we do this? We should know the power of thought. The thought is the cause of creation, and thought is the seed of creation. And Kriya Yoga teaches us to be conscious of our thoughts, activity, and speech all the time. So to watch your thoughts, be careful of your thoughts because thought has a lot of strength. Actually, our thoughts reflect in others. When you like somebody, you see the reflection of that. When you dislike someone, you will see a reflection of that. And the thoughts can also affect others even when they're not present there. So do not have any negative thoughts about anyone. And same through the words, we all know that one rude word can sometimes cause permanent damage to another. And to talk nicely, sweetly, with love, but remember, don't speak lies to please others. Be truthful, but without hurting others. So this is through words. Then through actions, actions should not cause harm to anyone. When it comes to action, it's a matter of attitude. The same act sometimes is a noble act. The same act could be a dangerous act, like we always give the example of the use of knife in a surgeon's hands operating to save a life, or the use of knife in a robber's hand trying to kill and steal. So to remember the attitude with which you are acting. And of course, there is a lot of debate about ahimsa and food. It is a personal preference. Only thing to remember is animals do not have a choice in their food, but human beings do, because The example of a tiger eating a deer cannot be called himsa because it is its natural food. Whereas we have a choice, we can choose what we want to eat, and we will not go into to eat vegetarian or non-vegetarian food, but simple, wholesome food without causing harm to others is good food for everybody. And complete nonviolence is not easy to practice, but we should be as careful as we can in not having to hurt others. So for ahimsa, the things to practice are: try to minimize violence in eating habits, use words and expressions in a humble way, do not entertain harmful thoughts about others, and try to practice some love and compassion every day. And remember, the entire creation is one. This will let you live peacefully. Next quality, number 4, is Kshanti, which means forgiveness. Again, it's a great value. Kshanti is used several times in the Gita. It has many meanings: tolerance, forgiving, accommodating. It is a quality which is recommended for gaining knowledge about the self. How to forgive, whom to forgive is something to think about. When you think we are all one family, it is easy to forgive, like the tongue being bitten by the teeth, or a child hitting the mother while playing. These are some things we forgive. So when you have love, you forgive. It is said, love gives and forgives, selfishness gets and forgets. Do not react to small things. It's a sign of weakness, and life can be miserable. Live with an attitude of forgiving. It's a great value to be cultivated. And who is the one who really forgives the most? God is the most loving and forgiving than anybody else. So, and the supreme example we have is of Jesus. While being crucified, he prayed for those who crucified him. Not only did he pray, he also asked God to forgive them. So this is the height of this value. And remember, forgiving is not the quality of weak. Only strong people can forgive. One who has the strength to punish but still does not is the one who forgives. A poor man renouncing is not renouncing. It is possible only when you have something and you are giving it up. How to practice this? Pray to God to forgive those who are hurting you, and pray to God to help them understand their mistakes. Keep a distance from them. Or if you can, lovingly communicate that you do not approve this type of conduct. Then we come to Arjavam, which is simplicity or straightforwardness, attitude of being straightforward. Gurudev always gave an example of a water hose. If it is all twisted and turned around, the water doesn't flow properly and it does not irrigate. So this is how a complicated, crooked life is. It will not be straight and happy. Honesty and humility are the qualities which give peace, bliss, and joy. And what helps us in acquiring this quality? First thing is to live with contentment and contemplation. Try to discipline the desires, serve with humility, and communicate in a straightforward manner. Try to be humble and try to be simple. And simplicity and faith go together. Have faith in God and live a simple life. Next is service to the teacher. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshinaha. This is what is said in Bhagavad Gita. By bowing down, by asking proper questions through service, you will be taught this knowledge. The Guru gives when he feels the disciple is deserving. We have incarnations having gurus, like Lord Krishna had gurus, Rama had gurus, Jesus was baptized. So it shows the importance of Guru for spiritual life. A Guru is a must. God is the first Guru. If you are ready to learn, God will teach you in the form of the Guru. And as we know, unless we are really ready to learn, the teaching is not given. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, until Arjuna said, I am confused, I am your disciple, please discipline me, the teaching has not started. Until then, Lord Krishna was only listening to him. And we can go on about the service to the teacher, and just let us be thankful that God has given us a Guru who is the most and the best Guru one could have. And he's giving us, teaching us even through his silence. Next is purity. There are purity, inner purity and outer purity. We have to keep our surroundings clean, our mind clean, and the most important thing to keep clean is the mind. So let us try to live as much practice of Saucham as possible. Purity of food is also important. So meditation helps because thought, mind, breath and mind are all related. Watching your breath helps in keeping the mind clean. Some other aids that can be practiced are fasting once in a way and try to go to bed thinking of God, and fasting in the morning, pray to God and get up. It is said purity is the doorway to heavenly life. Then we have Stairyam, which is steadiness, not to postpone anything, but try to do whatever you decide, try to do it as soon as possible. Postponing is a weakness. And have a fixed time for doing things, for meditation, for your work, and steadiness should be practiced. Body, mind, and breath, as well as gaze, all these things you should practice to be steady in these things. Things that will help is, like I said, have a definite time for everything. Be steady in conduct, steady in your wisdom, steady in your practice. Then this takes us to Atma Vinigraha, which is, I would call it self-discipline, because Atma can mean body, Atma can mean mind, Atma can mean self. And of the three, it is the mind which requires most control. And we have to watch the play of the mind and try to discipline the mind. If we can discipline our time properly, discipline our food habits, have prayer and meditation, serve others, study scriptures, through all this, mind control can be achieved. Next is to be detached from sense objects. We have sound, sight, touch, taste, and smell. Mind wants to keep on enjoying through these senses, and each of these senses can lead, if it is abused, can lead to death, as Acharya Shankara has said in his Viveka Chudamani. And Anahankara, we have already discussed this. And Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, to be constantly aware of the difficulties or the sorrows of birth, death, old age, and disease. The other value is detachment. and not to be identified with spouse, children, house, and so on. Another great value is to be equal-minded under pleasure and pain. We will just go through this a little faster because we're running out of time here. It is said most people think of God only in difficulties and they forget when they have pleasure and success. If you really remember God during pleasure and success also, there will not be difficulties at all. This is a famous saying of Saint Kabir, that everybody remembers God during difficulties, but during pleasure, they think it is all their achievement. So to be balanced and be equal-minded. And then lastly, undeviated devotion to me at all times is the 16th value. Loving to be alone is the 17th value. Aratir Janasamsadi, dislike for crowds, is another value. And I will just conclude with the last two values, which are Adhyatma Gnana Nityatvam, constant dwelling in self-knowledge, and Tattva Gnana Darsana. These two are the most essential qualities which are a result of practicing all the other qualities. So ordinary people live emotionally. It's not the perfect way to live. Conscious living changes the quality of life. So the fundamental question should be, who am I? If you are conscious of who you are, then most of the problems of life will be solved. And also, we should not only try to change our life, but we should also like to change the life who are around us. We give the example of a burning candle. It self-illuminates, it is seen in its own light, and it is also illuminating its surroundings. So life is a burning lamp. It should give joy to the self and also to others. And a fire that is not burning gives only a lot of smoke, burning the eyes and causing tears. So one who is not conscious is unhappy, and he also makes others unhappy. So I tried to sum up these qualities and give some thoughts to ponder about. Each of these qualities can itself be a topic for discussion. So hopefully this has given you some overall idea about what these values are and how to practice them. So with this, I conclude my talk, and we will go on to general meditation. Please sit wherever you are. Sit with the spine straight. Spine, neck, and head to be in a straight line, like the Lord said in the Gita, Samam Kaya Siro Griva. Spine should be erect, in line with the neck and the head. Close your eyes. Try to go within. You will notice some thoughts will be going through due to the nature of the mind. Mind is extrovert, mind is restless. Naturally, thoughts will be coming. Calmly watch your breath. You can ask yourself, who is really breathing? Are you breathing? Breath is going in, breath is coming out. Breath is the direct manifestation of God. And as is the breath, so is the mind. As you watch the breath, you will find that the mind gets slowly calmer and calmer. Take a slow, long, deep inhalation. Holding the breath, try to bow down to the front. Exhale as you come down. Normal conscious breath. Bowing is a symbol of humility and surrender. If you wish, you can offer a prayer. More blood comes to the brain, more prana comes to the brain. Take another deep inhalation. Slowly sit up and exhale. Come back to normal conscious breath. Now let us practice slow, long, deep breathing for some time. When you are breathing in, think of positive qualities coming in. And when you're exhaling, think of negative qualities exiting. Let us repeat this about 6 times. Inhale deep and exhale deep, thinking of coming in of positive and going out of the negative qualities. Let us sit silently for a couple of minutes. Slowly open your eyes when you are ready and look at the altar or think of God. In silence, God talks. In prayer, we talk. Think of the Guru who is silently meditating for all of us. Let us close with a prayer. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Let all be happy, let all be healthy, let there be no sorrow for anyone, let there be peace and auspiciousness everywhere. I am praying for all. Let the blessings of God and Gurus be upon all of us. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all. God bless you all.